Hello guys, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class we are going to discuss about a very important topic of the chapter structure of atom. So in this class we are going to know or discuss about a topic which relates the Bohr's atomic model and the quantum mechanic model. So quantum model of an atom was explained depending upon the classical quantum nature of physical chapters. But in this case of a structure of atom, it was also used to explain the position or structure of an atom in order to know its actual composition, how it is going to form a molecule or a compound, etc. So for that, we use several studies from the previous scientist works. So therefore, there were two scientists who clearly connected the Bohr's atomic model with the quantum model, and those two scientists were, one was de Broglie, who explained the dual nature of matter, and then it was Heisenberg who gave up uncertainty principle, which could help us understand more about the structure of an atom or the composition of atom, that is protons, electrons, neutrons, etc. So in this class we are going to study about those two scientists' important works. So that one, among the first one is dual nature of matter or dual behavior of matter. So we know the dual behavior of electron, right? Dual behavior of matter. So we have studied about the dual behavior of electromagnetic radiation. So now in today's class we are going to discuss about dual behavior of matter. So dual behavior of matter is very important for especially for any substance which appears in the environment. Matter is nothing but any substances which has certain mass and occupies some space, right? So how are we going to explain the dual behavior of electron now? So dual behavior of electron is explained on the basis of two experimental procedures. One is, if you consider electron, we know it is a particle. We know it is a subatomic particle. We initially said it is a particle. So electron is a subatomic particle. So we clearly have explained the particle nature of electron. Now, in order to explain the wave nature of electron, de Broglie, who is a French scientist, gave away an experimental setup where he conducted an experiment by passing electron beam to undergo diffraction. Yes, he made electron beam to undergo diffraction and he was successful in it. So using that particular experimental result, he said that electron which is sent in the form of beam acts as wave, because this diffraction process of physical phenomenon is completely depending upon the wave nature of light. So therefore, using these two theories, he gave away a relation in order to explain the particle nature and the wave nature of matter. So that is, wave nature was given by the terminology of wavelength, and the particle nature was given by the physical quantity of momentum. So he related momentum and wavelength of a particle to one another in a mathematical expression which is given by lambda is equal to h divided by p. Lambda is equal to h divided by p, where h is Planck's constant, whose value is 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 joule second. And lambda is the wavelength, p is the momentum. If you consider momentum p can also be defined as mass of a particle into velocity of the particle v. Mass of a particle into its velocity. So therefore, the de Broglie equation for wavelength is given as lambda is equal to h divided by mv. Lambda is equal to h divided by mv. So this is the expression for determining the dual behavior of matter. So using this particular expression, de Broglie explained us the dual behavior of matter. So this electron beam which de Broglie constructed played a very important role in scientific discoveries. That is because this electron beam can be used in an electron microscope. electron beam can be used in electron microscope. This electron microscope has a very high magnification. That is, you can zoom in or you can magnify an object which is in the power of 10 power minus 15. 10 power minus 15 times. So, if you take an atom or any substance which is of the size of 10 power minus 15, that particular atom or any particle can be observed using electron microscope. Electron microscope. So that is about the efficiency or the magnification extent of our electron microscope, which has electron beam working in it. Okay, using that particular electron beam, we can construct an electron microscope which has a very high magnification of about we can magnify for about a particle which is of the size 10 power minus 15, or it is also considered as the magnification of 15 million. It can magnify about 15 millionth time. Okay, so this is about the electron microscope, and using this electron microscope we can study a particle or electron's complete properties. So you can study a particle's electronic properties using electron microscope. So this was about de Broglie's explanation about the dual behavior of matter. Now the second important topic in this particular video is of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The second important topic which we are going to discuss here is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So Heisenberg is a German scientist. He, in the year 1927, proposed a principle in order to explain the position and momentum of an electron. He put forth a principle which is also called its uncertainty principle, where he discussed about the position and momentum determination of an electron. So what he stated was, he stated that it is impossible to determine exact position and exact momentum of an electron simultaneously. He said that we cannot determine a position and momentum, exact values of position and momentum of an electron simultaneously. So that is what the uncertainty principle says. So if you observe over here, they are giving us, is saying that we cannot determine exact position and exact momentum of an electron at a particular instant of time. So how is this possible is, if you consider the position of an electron as x and its momentum as px, if you consider the position of electron as x and its momentum as px, then what happens is, if we have to determine the exact value or the exact position of electron, we might miss to calculate the exact momentum. That is, if you, let us say if you are finding out the exact position, if you have find out the exact position of electron, what happens is, when you exactly find the position of an electron, you will miss the exact momentum of that particular electron at that particular instant of time. So that is what nothing but the simultaneously states. So that is, if you determine the exact position of electron, you won't be determining the exact momentum of that electron, or if you are determining the exact position of momentum, you won't be able to determine the exact position of the electron. So that is what Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says. So let us say we are going to guess, we are not exactly finding out the values, let us say we are guessing it. So therefore, in order to explain that, we consider delta x and delta px, where delta x is called uncertainty. Okay, let us say we will be missing some amount of point. So let us say if you are about to determine the exact position, which is around like 3.4 something, you are getting a value of 3.7. So then the uncertainty in between these two is 0.3. Okay, so that is the difference between the exact position and the value which you have found. So uncertainty is nothing but the amount at which you have missed the exact position or the exact momentum. So if you consider x as the position and px as the momentum, delta x will be the uncertainty of the position of electron and delta px will be uncertainty of the momentum of the electron. You can also define position in terms of velocity. Therefore, delta px can be given as m into delta vx. M does not change, therefore it will be written just m, whereas velocity will change with respect to momentum. So therefore the delta vx is called as uncertainty in terms of velocity of an electron. Okay, so now what Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says, that is, if you are to consider delta x into delta px, then it will be greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. Then it will be greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. That is, if you take the product of uncertainty of x and uncertainty of momentum, uncertainty of position and uncertainty of momentum, then that will be greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. Okay, so if you are substituting the value of delta px here, you will get delta x into delta v of m into delta v, that will be greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So if you substitute, if you take m on the other side, delta x into delta v will be greater than or equal to h by 4 pi m. So this is the uncertainty of position and momentum product, and this is the uncertainty of position and velocity product. Okay, so what does this equation explain is, so this equation explains us, if delta x is small, that is, so let us say you are getting delta x value is just around 0.3, automatically delta px has to be a greater value. So let us say the h by 4 pi value, let the h by 4 pi value be, let us around h is 6.626 and 4 by 2 pi, let us consider it is around some 45. So let us say it is something around 45 into 10 power minus 34, something like 34 or 27. Let us say this is the value of h by 2 pi, h by 4 pi. So what happens is, in order to this product to be greater than 45 into 10 power minus 27, if one reduces, other will be automatically increases. So if this value has to be, let us say x1, x2. So the product of x1, x2 should be greater than 45 into 10 power minus 7. No, x2, let us say px2. x1, px1. So if you are multiplying x1 into px1, which has to be greater than or 45 into 10 power minus 27, what happens is, if you reduce x1, automatically px increases. That is, the uncertainty, if the uncertainty of x is small, if the uncertainty of position is a small value, then automatically uncertainty of momentum will be a greater value. That is, if you determine the almost exact value of position, you will have a greater difference between position, momentum of a electron. If you are considering px as an exact value, automatically a position of the electron will be of a different region. So therefore, position and momentum cannot be determined exactly and simultaneously for an electron. So this is about uncertainty principle. So if you consider, in order to understand these concepts more, so let us say I am giving you a sheet of paper. I am asking you to find out its thickness using a centimeter scale. Okay, I am giving a sheet of paper. The sheet of paper will be very thin, right? So let us say this is a sheet of paper. So if I am asking you to find the thickness of this sheet of paper using a centimeter scale, which has markings of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 centimeters in it. Okay, so what happens is, you won't be able to find out the exact thickness of the paper. So what you have to consider is, In order to find out the thickness of the paper, you need to use a measurement scale which has smaller value than that of the thickness of the paper, right? So if I ask you to measure this length of the chalk piece, you can use a centimeter scale in order to measure the length, right? What if I ask you to cut this into a fine powder and find out its thickness? You won't be able to determine with the help of a scale. So similarly, in case of uncertainty, if you have to determine one thing, you need to know the value of the other. Okay, so if you have to find out the thickness of the paper, you have to use a measuring scale which has values less than that of the thickness of the measuring scale. Okay, if I give you grams of some compound, if you give some x grams of compound, I give you a scale which weighs only in terms of 1000 kilograms. So what happens is you won't get the value. It will be completely zero. Okay, even though it has some mass, it won't be there in the measuring scale. So similarly, if you have to find out the mass of a substance or thickness of a substance, anything, you have to use a measuring scale which has values less than that it. So similarly, in this case also, what happens is, if you are finding out the exact value of position, you won't be getting the exact value of momentum. So that is what Heisenberg's uncertainty principle explains. So now, okay, we have understood this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. What is the use of this? So, what is the use of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle? You know, our ISRO conducted a last Chandrayaan-2 mission in last year. So in that Chandrayaan mission, they covered the path of our satellite moving towards the moon, right? So they found out there was a decrease in the variation in trajectory. You know the trajectory, that is, whenever you throw an object at a speed, it travels for a distance and then comes back to the ground state, right? So if you are throwing a ball, it takes an height and then goes on decreasing, just like a projectile motion. So if you are if you know the exact position and the momentum of that particular object, you can find out the path of trajectory. If you know what speed you have throwing that object at a particular position, so you can exactly guess the next position of the object. So let us say the object is let us say you have thrown an object at a speed of 2 km per hour, 2 km per hour in an angle of 45 degree. So you have thrown it in this angle of 45 degree with 2 km per hour. So let us say after 1 km it reaches, after a certain period of time, it reaches this distance. You have checked the time. So the time will be now after 1 hour, this is a 2 km range. Okay. So now what you can say is, you can measure the exact next 2 km range over here. That will, you will say that, so after 1 hour, so you are exactly at the first hour position, and now you are saying in the next hour the ball will be over here. So that is how we are going to guess the trajectory, right? But in case of electrons, we can't do that. In case of electrons, we cannot exactly locate the path of electron moving. Even though we know its mass, even though we know its momentum, we won't know its position. If you know its position, you won't know its momentum. So therefore, if you are considering certain objects, thus objects, if you have to know its path or trajectory, what has to happen is it has to have mass of very high value, at least of milligrams, that is 10 power minus 6 grams. So why is it that 10 power minus 6 is called a higher mass? So now let us consider an example. Let us take an example for this explanation for microscopic and macroscopic molecule. For a microscopic molecule, let us say I am taking a mass of a particle of mass 10 power minus 31 kg. So that will be the mass of an electron range. So 10 power minus 31 kg. Particle of mass 10 power minus 31 kg. So this is for microscopic level. And now I am considering one more particle, one more object of macroscopic level, whose mass is equal to 1 into 10 power minus 6 kg. Okay. So this is about the masses of two different particles. So now if I write down the formula of uncertainty, that is delta x into delta v, let us say this product of delta x into delta v is equal to h by 4 pi dm, delta x into delta v is equal to h by 4 pi m. So what happens is, if delta x into delta v is substituted for the value of smaller mass, 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 divided by 4 into 3.14 into 10 power minus 31. Okay, so now ignore these numericals. Let us just consider about the powers over here. So if you subtract these two, you will get a value of 10 power minus 3. Right, so this 10 power minus 3 is the value of delta x, uncertainty product of position into velocity for a microscopic level. Now in this case, if you have to calculate delta x into delta v, which will be equal to h by 4 pi m, so that will be equal to 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 divided by 4 into 3.14 into 10 power minus 6. Okay, so again we'll ignore these values. If you just observe here, we get 10 power minus 28. So out of these two, which is a smaller value? Out of these two, which is a smaller uncertainty value? This one, right? With a value of 10 power minus 28. So what we can clearly say is, if you take a macroscopic object of very high mass, their uncertainty will be very less. So if you take a bigger object, it will be easier for you to determine its path and location. If you take smaller objects such as like mass of 10 power minus 31, its uncertainty will be very high. Okay, its uncertainty will be very high, resulting in the changing delta x or delta v. So let us say if I consider x is something around 1 by 10 power 1. Okay, so position let be 10. So delta v should be a greater value in order to be formed to 10 power minus 3. In this case, what happens is, if both are smaller, then we'll get 10 power minus 28. Understood? So what happens is, what is the significance of this uncertainty principle is, if you consider a microscopic element such as an electron, it has a very high uncertainty. That means if you are calculating its position or velocity simultaneously, you won't get the exact value because of its uncertainty. If you are considering a macroscopic object of a very high mass, then you will find out its uncertainty product to be a very less value, which helps in determining its path or location simultaneously. So therefore, Heisenberg uncertainty principle clearly says that it is impossible to determine exact position and exact momentum of an electron simultaneously. Okay, so this is all about the two or three important concepts of concepts which related Bohr's model with quantum model, which are dual behavior of matter and then this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So I hope you have understood these two concepts. These two are very important in order to understand our quantum model. So please go through this video once more. If you have any doubt, please do comment down below. You can also mail those doubts to me in my mail ID, which I have provided in the description box. Thank you for watching.